And it's just a really casual, comfortable place to hang out. I mean, it's I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. It's not like a skulls and shots place. There's no pictures of Frida. There's no, you know, no skulls hanging on the walls. There's no serapes. There's no sombreros. I mean, that's the thing about Mexican, especially when we started doing it 10 years ago. There was a much different expectation of Mexican food and what you were going to get in the delivery. And our approach was so urban. Like we have modern art in there, and it could be in Mexico. Any of our stores could be in Mexico because they reflect a real aesthetic. And you know, if you want to come in and get a combo platter, which I call the death hubcap of sludge, you know, the brown beans, the cheese, the red sauce, the lumps with the stuff on top of them, the little flag and the sour cream.
Not going to happen.
Us. No one.
Thank goodness.
They looked at my food and they're like, "This isn't Mexican food," and I'm like, "No, I'm sorry. This is Mexican food. What I'm serving.
Yeah.
What you've had is like the Mexican equivalent of spaghetti and meatballs."
You know, a lot of people don't understand that.
No, it's weird, and they expect it to be cheap,
which
I think is kind of racist.
Yeah.
You know, why should it be cheap?
Yeah.
Just because it's a taco, it doesn't mean I have tacos that have 5 handmade fresh salsas on them. They take longer to put together than $100 steak dinner. Mm-hmm. And, you know, so anyway, that's another.
No, but
I digress.
The thing is that you're doing a service for, because there's other restaurants of similar quality as yours where there is a price demand because of the quality of the products that you use. You know, fresh tortillas, salsas, high-end produce, high-end meat, and the expectation is, like you said, it should be cheap. Well, that's not the case at all. You're not going to get a better meal.
Yeah, and you're not my customer.
Yeah,
so, sorry.
You know, one of the things that I love about your restaurant, as you mentioned when you walk in, there's not all these things that you would traditionally think you would see, but I love that there's an open kitchen. Mm-hmm. It's just all there, and that's what we see in Baja, right?
Yep.
Was the kitchen like that before? I don't remember. It was late when I went to Charlie Brown's.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was an Italian restaurant in between called Mama Gina's, and they drove that hard and put it away wet. Yeah. There wasn't much left of it when we got it. No, the kitchen was walled off, and I really battled to have an open kitchen because, I'm a chef, and I like to watch people cook. I think everybody likes to watch a kitchen. The designer wanted to put up panels with photographs. I'm like, no. You know, they're going to walk in, there's my guys working, maybe there's a towel thrown here, maybe you can hear them yelling in Spanish. Awesome.
Yeah.
That's the way we're going.
Yeah.
We don't want to hide what we do. And I also want my cooks, all of whom are Mexican, to look out and know who they're cooking for and be proud of what they do and what they're putting out. They're very proud of what they do.
As they should be.
Yeah. The open kitchen's always a battle. I love taquerias where, you know, the guy's just like, there he is. It's all right there. Talk about transparency.
Yeah.
But you can see them handling it. You can see how long the food's been sitting around. Everything about it. I never get sick eating in Mexico.
Yeah, nor do I.
Yeah, because A, it's a bad idea to kill your customers. B, the fact that they don't have good refrigeration means everything's fresh. Mm-hmm. You get fresh stuff, you cook, you serve it. When it's out, you close.
Yep.
And then you start again the next day. You don't hold things for days and days. So I feel very confident eating anywhere down there.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because I do as well. The only place I've been sick from surfing runoff water, and I knew I shouldn't have been in the water that day either, but the surf was so good I had to go out. So my fault. You know, the reason why I ask you about the kitchen is because you have been around since 2009. There's a lot of open kitchens now. Mm-hmm. But then there wasn't a lot of open kitchens because they wanted to have those aesthetics or they wanted to hide what they were doing, et cetera. So, I don't want to go as far as revolutionary, but I do appreciate that you were willing to do that when a lot of people weren't at the time, and you incorporated that into the look and feel of the restaurant as a whole.
Mm-hmm. Ideally, my idea was to have the kitchen as being an extension of the bar. Mm-hmm. If you've ever been to Spain and you go into the tapas places, the guy that's pouring your wine and giving you your beer, he's doing your cooking, too. You know, I love the idea that you could have food being made right next to drinks being made. And we sort of promote that menu-wise in the restaurant anyway, because Colin, who I hope you'll have a chance to interview, he does so much with fresh produce, and he really thinks like a chef about the bar program. I just think it's all just part of the experience. I like food.
Yeah.
Being very casual.
So speaking of the food, is there a few signature dishes at your restaurant that you're known for? I know they're all great. I've tried a lot of them. And sorry, we're over complimenting you today, but it is how we feel about the place.
Bring it.
But is there a few signature dishes if somebody were to come in there for the first time that you'd really want them to try because that is the essence of what you're trying to do?
I think number one would be the Vampiro taco, which is, I call it the franchise, and any other Vampiros you see, except for the one in Tijuana, are lies. So the first Vampiro came from Las Lahumadoras in Tijuana, and I just love the name. And all it was just a corn tortilla with cheese melted on it and some carne asada on it. I'm like, I got to do something with that name.
Yeah.
So you know me a little bit now, and I'm kind of like, I'm going to play with this. It's the iron law of escalation. There's always one more thing. So I stack 2 tortillas, put serrano chilies and green onions in between. You toast it. And then you put guacamole, and then you put carne asada, and then you put pico de gallo, and then you put cotija cheese, and then you put green onions. And then you roll the whole thing up and try and eat it. And it's the best taco. It's so much fun. So people say, why is it a Vampiro? I go, well, it's got a stake through its heart. And it's the taco that bites you back.
Okay.
So
I like it.
It's another thing that I think is particularly unique to us is the hot and raw ceviche, which is like a tropical fruit ceviche with habaneros in it. So it's sweet, but it's really hot.
Yeah.
And we make all our ceviches, I call it South American style. We don't pre-marinate the fish. So when you order your ceviche, he cuts a lime and he squeezes the lime on the fish. So it comes to your table, it's almost raw. And you can see the opaque starting to work around the edges of the fish. But the flavor profile is really fun. There's a lot going on when you eat it. And we do homemade beet and sweet potato chips with it.
Oh, wow.
So Mexicans eat a lot of beets and they eat a lot of sweet potatoes. So
throw it out there.
Yeah, it's out there. Gosh, there's so many things that I'm threatened, every time I try and take something off. We do the guacamole with the goat cheese, which is, again, very typical in Mexico, but it was really unusual when we did it.
Yeah.
We just didn't doll things up. Oh, man. My own menu. I can't even remember my
I know.
own
I put you on the spot with it because, there is so many great things. And it's funny, while you think about I need one more item from you. But when I did the In-N-Out show last week, I got a number of texts. Everybody's going, oh, I had to go to In-N-Out today. I guarantee you tomorrow everybody's going to be at your restaurant.
I want a Vampiro. Oh, gosh. I think the other thing would be maybe something like the Kobe steak that we do, which is American Wagyu. But it's, just marinated with a little bit of garlic and soy sauce is the classic carne asada marinade. But we put cilantro sauce on it. We do it with grilled onions on the side, sliced avocado. So it's almost like an elevated carne asada taco when it comes out, but it's got this gorgeous American Wagyu beef in it. So
I love it.
That's pretty distinctive, too. Yeah, I want one of those right now, actually.
Now, you guys do something unique. I love chips and salsa, and your guys' chips are some of the best. You put some kind of seasoning on there. I think you mentioned it once. But you also bring out a little platter or tray that has different salsas and some salt and lime and all that stuff. I just love that you do that. Any reason why? Or just part of how you do things?
It's like in Mexico, nobody's going to finish your food for you. You're going to make it the way you like it.
Yes.
Al gusto. That is a big deal. Maybe your mother can finish your food, but nobody else, no chef is going to put out a meal and go, it's perfect the way it is. So the hot sauce and the salt or the lime are for people I like salt, so I'm going to add salt. Add their own heat, add their own salt, add their own lime, and it's a little bit more interactive that way when it comes to the table. And it's a very Mexican way of eating. And it's also, I think it's kind of a lesson to people about balance in food. Because Mexican food especially has to be balanced. You've got to have spice, you've got to have sweet, you've got to have crunch, you've got to have salt. You have to have all those things. And it's kind of fun when you start playing with it. Like if you take one of those tostadas, they're big round white corn tostadas, real, made from dry corn. And sprinkled with 2 kinds of chilies, it has to be 2 kinds of chilies, and you can't mix them, guys, because I can tell when I see the colors if you're pre-mixing them. And pepitas and salt, you break that, you put hot sauce on it and a squeeze of lime. It's delicious.
Heaven.
And then you hit the salsas, and the salsas are like multiple layers to.
Yeah.
I say it looks simple. Nothing I ever do is simple.
No, and that's why I asked you about it. I knew there was a story behind it because I love the presentation on the table and watching people interact, as you said, across the room with what you've brought out. And I think a lot of people discover salsas and the addition of that lime and salt in a new way because being here in Newport Beach area, not everybody's had Mexican food or Baja food the way we have. And I think you're doing a great job exposing some of that.
Well, there's also the wonderful thing, and I guess this is really the base of the story, is when you get one of our tostadas, it's not like a chip that you pick up and you eat.
Yes.
You have to break it.
Yeah.
You have to, like, break bread, but you're breaking a tortilla.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like your entry into the world of soul, which is a little different than you might have been expecting.
I like it. You mentioned you have several locations now. What are the plans for the future with your group and where you guys are heading?
No, we want to grow a little bit more. My partners are quite a bit younger than I am, so they probably have a lot more years in them. But I think we're a California brand. I'd like to grow more in California. Mm-hmm. It's a challenging restaurant market, everyone says, but boy, what a rewarding place to do business, and it's our home. You know? So we'll grow a little bit more. Maybe not too much. We like to keep our hands on.
You know, I don't disagree that it's a challenging market to do business in if you're not doing a great job. When you're doing a job that you're doing over there, you open the doors and people come in. And there's other places like that, and they've seen the same success. Mm-hmm. And I just think it's a kudo to doing a good job and a job well done with your recipes and your staff and everything else. I know I've always had a great experience. Just a random question. Anything that you're obsessing about right now outside of your world, or from big or small, from the pen you write with to the car you drive or places you want to go?
I'm wrapping up writing my first fiction.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I wrote my first novel and been working on that for 2 years and have stubs of 3 others. And so, I'm kind of obsessing about writing right now and travel.
Yeah.
I really, really, really want to hit the road and do some traveling. So hopefully I'm going to be in Mexico City for 5 days, but I'd like to go spend a month in Barcelona, south of France. Yeah, I'm obsessed with Barcelona.
Nothing wrong with that.
So this is my new obsession.
Okay, here it comes.
It's a restaurant obsession. It comes back to that cook standing behind the counter, talking to the person sitting there, and then cooking for them. Mm-hmm. I love that. Why can we not do that? Why can that not be a successful model? You know, it's so great.
I don't see why not.
So great. I mean, this guy, he was cooking the big gambaras for us. I must have spent $1,000 in the Boqueria in Barcelona in 2 days on beer and shrimp alone, right? And jamon, who needs jamon? Just bring me more of this stuff. But just watching these guys work and the interaction with the customers and how live it is. Mm-hmm. It's so alive. Where here in this country we have this I'm going to sit down, you're going to take my order, it's going to go in here, it's going to go here and here. When I'm cooking, I want to give it to you. Yeah. You know, I want to give it to you. I don't want it to go through 6 different sets of hands and arrive on the table. I always say tacos are like ice cubes, but there's a part of doing business with anybody is a connection. Mm-hmm. It's always a connection. And when you lose it, you sort of become detached from the whole process, and you don't care as much. You let my guys have somebody sitting at their counter that they can talk to, and it's a different experience for them. Absolutely. And still the fact they can see, we still have that connection. We're working for you, for you right there. And it's a hard job. It's a hard business, but that's what makes it worthwhile, I think, for me. So that's a lot of obsessions, isn't it?
No, it's okay. Yeah. I want to be your first customer in that scenario. It's kind of like that sushi bar scenario. Mm-hmm. You sit at the bar because you want to interact with the person behind the bar. Yeah. I know for my wife and I, we always sit at a bar when we're out for a meal, if we don't have the kids, because we want to interact with the person behind the bar and talk about the drinks and the food and be given that opportunity to talk about it. Yeah. I love that. Thank you.
Yeah. It lets the customer in too, because people are fascinated with the production of food. They are. Even if they don't cook, they're still interested. They're going to watch, because everybody eats. We eat 3 to 7 times a day, depending on who you talk to. It matters to bring them in too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's a place in Tequila. Have you been down to Tequila?
Mm-hmm.
La Capilla. It's one